What are some of the examples that you've seen of people who, or some of the common mistakes that people make where they're just not getting it right?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones is there's no onboarding of new people. So people go, "Hey, great, you're employed. Okay, here's what you need to do, or here, do this for me," or it's very ad hoc. Now, it's difficult because usually, particularly smaller businesses, we're all in chaos, right? Anyway, because we're trying to grow, and the growth stage is quite painful and busy. But people need to take a step back and go, right, if you're employing someone or you're bringing anyone on board, you're obviously thinking long-term-ish, you're not thinking about the next month. So it's okay to spend an onboarding time and to say, we need to just settle back for a minute and take a step back so that we can move forward faster later. Now, people think when you're hiring higher up roles that should be faster. I actually would hazard it's actually the other way around. In my experience, hiring like a head of operations or a head of HR, there's like a 6-month onboarding experience for a lot of those people because they've got to get in under the hood and sort of have a look at what's already being done and get to know the culture, the whole vibe that's going on, get to know you, get to know how everything's done, and then rebuild usually. And that can take 6 months. So I actually think getting a VA on board is actually faster. That's like a 6-week kind of onboarding experience that you would have there with someone doing that role.
What's interesting is I just made the connection as you were speaking there, talking about sort of a higher up level manager and somebody who's buying a business, because what I often see is that when someone buys a business, there's a transition period with the former owner. But then there's this other period, I call it the normalization period, where the new owner now knows what they need to keep things running day to day from what they've been told by the old owner. But then they do exactly what you described, is they start to examine how everything is operating. And then they start to plan out what changes they might want to make. And I usually tell people, don't make a major change for the first year. Because you need to figure out, why is it being done? Is it just tradition, or is there an actual reason why they're doing it in a certain way?
Because there could be a good reason,
Exactly.
but it could just be legacy. And you won't know that for a long time. And I also got some advice a few years ago. Somebody said to me, also don't hire big roles more than once every 6 months, because you as the owner, you can't onboard a head of learning and development, a head of ops, and a head of HR all at the same time. It's quite difficult to do that. I guess unless you're starting from scratch, but you've just got to be careful that you allow things the time it takes to get things right. Yeah.